In the last couple episodes, we have been working on getting our motor and our trans built and ready to drop into this car. We have a PPG dog box 1 through 4. We have a fully built sleeved K20 that we are throwing in this thing, and today is the day where we can put this thing into the car. Or so I thought. In front of us here, we have all of the goodies needed to get the motor and trans dropped into the car, starting off with our Sport mounts. These are the 92A, the stiffest mounts they offer. My one complaint is that these are red, and I don't have red anywhere else on this car, but that's something I'm gonna have to live with. So we have the Sport all-wheel drive mounts. We have a 4P diamond claw for our flywheel to ensure that this thing does not back out, matched with their flywheel bolts as well. So these are going to be a very nice touch to ensure that this thing doesn't go anywhere. And then the big main piece, the clutch that we are going to be running, the clutch that has to handle all of the power and torque I'm wanting to throw at this. So we went with a Clutch Masters clutch here. This is a twin disc. I truthfully don't know the full specifications of this. I reached out to them. I told them what clutch would work best for this build, and this is the one that they sent over. But this is their twin disc clutch. I believe it's their carbon one. It has the flywheel, and then it does come with a nice throwout bearing, but since we are switching over to a hydraulic, I'll just have a nice spare. But let's go ahead and start off this process by grabbing our engine hoist, getting the motor up in the air so we can start bolting on our clutch. Really packaged, looks nice. Now this is a good looking clutch. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm going through with a marker and marking all of the clutch plates, as these do come pre-balanced, but they don't come marked. So in case I ever have this clutch taken apart, I know how to put it back together properly. Now with our diamond claw and flywheel placed on, we are going through and putting red Loctite on every single bolt here, and then followed by 85 foot-pounds.
So today Remy's being a homo. I hit record.
Oh, did you?
Nice bicep, Remy. You're yoked out of your mind.
You could just put those on the ground first and then...
Yeah, I know. I just... think about that, but it's too late.
That's a handy little car.
He made it. With the help of Devin, we are now mating our trans to our motor to get this thing dropped into the car, but we are having an alignment issue where the input shaft did not want to sit properly, and that is simply due to the crappy plastic alignment tools. And what Brian told me to do was genius, and I used the stock input shaft to align the clutch. That's it?
They never not done anything, but I've never done a car that fucking expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck for that drill.
God damn, it's heavy without you holding it.
The fuck? I feel like it's worse now. Oh, there we go. Let's go.
And now with our motor and trans paired, it is time to drop this in. And here we go, we are dropping the car on top of the motor, as you guys can tell by my ridiculous stance here, but this is to ensure that I don't accidentally nick either one of my strut towers. You know what really helps when you're struggling to get your motor in is to make sure your motor mounts are actually the proper orientation. I switched it, and not even like a minute later, we have the rear mount in, all of these line up. We just have to adjust the height of the car, get those bolted in, and then this bad boy is in the car. Well guys, here we go. Our motor, it's in. Damn. And just like that, we now have our motor and trans bolted up into the chassis, and this thing is starting to look so good, guys. One day at a time, this car is starting to look more and more like an actual functioning car. Now with the motor and trans, and we did go ahead and toss in the interior, just the seats, the dash, steering wheel. I've shown you guys this a million times, so I didn't feel the need to record it, but it is starting to look absolutely insane. Really what's next is, obviously we have a few miscellaneous things we need to bolt up onto the chassis. Get the water pump on, new pan and valve cover, which actually should be showing up any minute, and I'm so beyond excited to show you guys the accent color I'm gonna be running on this car. Now really what's next, the big things at least, is we need to get the turbo kit made. I'm having a full turbo kit made from Straight Fabrication. The same people have built my turbo kit for my VA STI, my 17 STI. They welded my roll cage. They do phenomenal work. They're gonna be building me a full custom kit. They're gonna be building me an intercooler, charge piping, manifold, hood dump, all of that stuff they're gonna be custom making for exactly how I want it to look on this car, which at this point, I want this car to be exactly how I want it. I'm already so much money and so much time invested. I want this thing to be absolutely perfect. So we have to wait for our opening for fab to get that in. And then once our turbo kit is done, we can start wiring up our chassis, which I haven't really shown you guys what I'm doing. Now in front of us is all of the Haltech goodies I'm gonna be using on this car. We have the keypad controller because we're going full race car with this thing. I mean, we're already practically to that point. We have crimping tools, and that is because we are gonna be building our very first harness. And the reason for that is the ECU I am running for this thing. This is the Haltech Nexus R5. Now this thing is badass. This is like the nicest Haltech ECU you can buy. And the reason I went this route is initially I still have the parts I need to go ahead and return. I was gonna run a 2500 Elite with a PDM chassis harness and an engine harness, which I have sitting back here. But I was not a fan of how many plug and play connectors, how messy the wiring was gonna be, especially because I'm leaving this thing exposed. And that is when I decided just to go all out and get the R5 for this car. Now, truthfully, it was cheaper, ended up being cheaper after all of the plug and play. I still got a custom chassis harness and stuff like that. But the one issue is I have to build this harness myself. We have a backpack full of so much wiring for this thing. Just a little glimpse of what I have to do. This process is going to take me, I'm assuming, probably 80 to 100 hours. Now, it is also kind of nerve-wracking because, as you guys know, everything I've done on this build is really my first time. I've never built a motor, I've never painted, I've never done anything I've done on this build. This build is really to test myself to the fullest capability. I mean, I'm really pushing my limits of what I've been able to do. That's why I love this build so much. So we're just adding one more thing, and that is wiring. Now, thankfully, I have a good group of friends that know a good amount about wiring. I have Tanner Smedia, who's made many of harnesses before for his EG33 swapped STI. Brian Alves, my powder coater, he has an all-wheel drive Honda. Chris from Straight Fabrication. I have a ton of people that are gonna be able to help me assist and get this thing done. But that is a process I am not looking forward to. So although we are getting very, very close to getting this car done, unfortunately, we are where all of the time-consuming stuff lies. I mean, like I mentioned, the wiring, I'm assuming it's gonna take me 80 hours, maybe 100 hours, especially for my first time. The whole custom turbo kit's gonna take quite a while. Plus, I have to wait for my opening at Fab, which I'm a couple weeks out, unfortunately. But then the rest of the stuff should go by pretty easy. We still have to bolt up the interior, put the glass in. We have all of our door cards, all of that configuration that needs to go in. We have our fuel system we need to build. So there's still tons left to do, but we are finally in the end stretch here. But this build journey so far has been so rewarding and so fun. We are 6 months into this build, which is absolutely crazy. I told you guys, I wanted to have this car done in 30 days. Things got way out of control, and we are now sitting with what we have behind us here. But it has been an absolute blast. It's been a huge learning experience. It's been extremely stressful. There's been plenty of things I have messed up on this build and will continue to mess up on. But that's also one thing I like to always point out. I am very new when it comes to building cars, and I post everything. If I fuck something up, I'll post it and I'll own up to it. That's just the reality of building cars, especially when you are a newbie like me, and I like to show everything I mess up on, everything I succeed on, and take you guys along the building journey. But in just a few minutes here, my valve cover is showing up, which will reveal the accent color I am using on this build. I am beyond excited for this. I don't know if you guys are, but it is going to look insane. It is way more poppy than I ever imagined this car would be, but let's see how this thing looks.
A running car?
Oh shit. Damn, that's gonna
I'll put
look
this on my car,
so...
but it won't fit.
Oh my god.
I have too many cylinders. Here you go.
This valve cover on here looks absolutely amazing. It is way more poppy than I ever anticipated this build to look, but nonetheless, it looks absolutely amazing. But here we go, guys. The whole idea with running the yellow is kind of a spoon-inspired look. We have the blue chassis and then the yellow accent, which is the spoon colors, which I think look absolutely amazing. This is like a Type R yellow, as close as we can get because this is powder coat, but this came out absolutely amazing. Huge shout out to Dark Matter Coatings, the person that has done all of the powder coating work for us. He actually picked out this color for us since I am so indecisive. I cannot pick things to save my life, so I gave him the go-ahead and he picked yellow, which looks insane. Not only did we do the valve cover yellow, all of our brakes on this car are yellow. They've been at the powder coat shop for quite some time now getting coated, and then I also got them custom laser engraved. There we go. Here is our calipers with our custom engraved No Limit. That is our brand, but it looks absolutely amazing, especially with the valve cover and brakes together. Looks fantastic. The only thing I don't think is going to look good is the bronze TEs, but I do have plans on switching these out in the future, probably selling these and putting a set of Bellics on here, a polished or a raw set of Bellics. I think would look absolutely amazing with like all of the raw stuff as well. But this is the color combo we are running on the car, guys. But right now we need to go through and pull this motor back out of the car and disassemble it. If you guys saw the last video, the $1 million question here is I had a ton of you guys in my comments saying you guys did not see a dowel pin installed. So I went through some old footage. I was not able to see it as well, all the raw uncut footage. And if you guys don't know what that is, it is a dowel pin that goes from your block to your head that aligns your head and your block perfectly and your head gasket to ensure that nothing leaks, everything's working how it should. So we need to go through, pull this apart and verify that one, they're either there or they're not. I just went ahead and overnighted a new head gasket and OEM dowel pins. That way, if this is missing that stuff, we have new components to throw on there. Thanks to you guys, this could have been a very catastrophic catch. That is kind of a blessing with filming these videos. As dumb as it sometimes makes me look, but I post everything. I show my mess ups, I show everything. And thanks to you guys, depending on what we find here, it could have saved us some pretty catastrophic damage. And for all the people that maybe don't know K-Series and are questioning, why did I go with the billet timing cover? For this exact reason, it is a two-piece design. I'm able to pull off the top cover, remove the tensioner, pull the chain off to the side, and I can remove the head and retime this without taking any of this other stuff apart. That's why, like, inside the motor, this sits really close to the frame rail. So with this design, if I were at the track, need to retime my motor, do something like that, I could do so without having to pull this whole thing out. Well guys, here's the moment of truth. If you guys were correct and I fucked up, let's find out. The head bolts are all off. No dowel. And I don't think there's any dowels on here. Well, here we have it, guys. There is no dowels on the block itself, and then we make our way over to our head here. There is also no dowels. So to everyone that watched my videos and watched it thoroughly and noticed a 10-second clip where I did not have the head dowels placed on, I appreciate you guys like crazy. We're gonna go ahead. I'll show you guys putting on the dowels, putting on the head gasket, and then I think that's gonna finish it off for today's video, as I don't need to show you guys this whole process again, but we got lucky here. And here we go, guys. We have the new head gasket on, dowel there, dowel there. We're gonna go ahead, clean off the deck surface of the head as we just did that on the block surface and get this retorqued. That's how a head should click on. And just like that, our motor is sealed back up, except this time we have those dowel pins installed. Again, a huge thank you to those who saw that in the video and then commented, as I first was doubtful, and then I went through some old footage and then obviously pulled it apart and it was indeed not there. But we got that taken care of. Unfortunately, today's episode was kind of like one step forward, one step back, but it is okay because we needed this motor out of the car anyway, as we're replacing all of the mounts and some other goodies.